Hello and welcome to this video. Today we want to take a look at a Superautomatic from Philips. It's the 2200 in some markets. I believe it's the 1200 in other markets. It is their entry level to their Superautomatics. But you know what? It uses the same brew group as their more expensive models. And what we're going to take a look at today is just what this machine comes with, what features it has, and we're going to see how we can get the best out of the steamed milk with that panarello and without the panarello on there. So let's just go ahead and get started. Let's see, what does this machine come with? First of all, it comes with a little scoop because you can put some of your own coffee in here as well if you like. It comes with some grease as well. So this grease is used for either Philips, Seiko, or Gaggia machines. They all come from the same umbrella manufacturer. And this is for the brew group because it does have some moving parts. So this is some food safe grease that they include. Then we get a test strip for hard water. Now this is important because if you have hard water, you have to descale on a regular basis. That's a normal thing. So what we're going to do is the machine is turned off and we're just going to check that. To do that, just hold down on the bean button there for 3 seconds and then you can choose. So I'm going to turn it all the way up to 4 and press the play button. And now that is set for hard water because I've got very hard water. That's just going to remind me to descale more often, and that's important to extend the lifespan of your machine. Now we've also got these directions here. So it's got quick start directions, shows you what you got to do, how to make a cappuccino, a coffee, and so on. Another thing that it comes with, and this is the last thing, is a water filter. So that's good. I've got the water filter primed and I've got it put in there. So now we're ready to try the machine out. Now the machine itself is pretty simple. It's just got a few buttons. Let's turn it on. So it's got a flat display here with curved edges. It's got just a few different options that you can choose. So you've got an espresso, you can do a 1 or 2. And if you do a double espresso, what it does is it brews twice, goes through the whole process 2 times. Then we've got a coffee, got the same thing, 1 or 2. So that's like a Caffe Crema. And then we've got hot water and steam. So when the machine turns on, it does a cleaning phase. That's why I like to keep the cup here to collect that water. Now it's finished with the cleaning. And I would say let's just go ahead and make ourselves an espresso. All right, so what I like to do is measure out my espresso, see how much I'm getting. And what I found out is that there's 3 levels. So you can choose the amount of beans you want with your bean level here, 1, 2, or 3. You can do the same thing with the water. Now, if you choose the low setting, you get 30 milliliters. If you choose the middle setting, you get 40 milliliters. And the high setting gives you 65 milliliters of espresso coming out. And those are really more of an espresso Lungo because that has to do with the ratio. Let's just try one out here. All right, so I'm gonna press espresso 1 time. I'm going to choose the maximum beans. Let's do the medium amount of water. That should give me about 40 milliliters. All right, but before we pull our shot, we gotta put in some nice freshly roasted beans. I got these ones right here, espresso beans, and they've been roasted within the last couple of weeks. So that's important. You're going to get better crema if you use freshly roasted beans. So here we go. So there we got our 38 grams out, and you can see it's got some crema on there. So that's pretty good. Now these are freshly roasted beans. That makes a difference. In addition, these also have a good amount of Robusta in them, and that makes a difference too. So the more Robusta you have is the more crema you're going to get, and also the more caffeine. So that shot came out at right around 68, 70 degrees Celsius. It's pretty good, but I wouldn't really consider that a classic espresso, and in fact it can't be. Because what I've done is I stopped the machine after grinding and I've weighed out how much it's actually putting into its brew group. And in the low setting, you're getting 6 grams. In the high setting, you're getting right around 7 grams. So in the middle, you're getting right around 6.5 grams. So 6.5 grams, and this is 40 out. So you're talking something like a 1:6, 1:7 ratio, which makes this more of a, Lungo, if anything. But the flavor is pretty nice. I do still get some of those dark chocolates coming out. A little bit of sweetness at the end. These are good beans, and that makes all the difference. If, however, you would like to have a stronger drink, I really would recommend to do the least amount of water, which is going to let out 30 grams, and you can do a double if you want. But anyway, let's move on to the next thing. So we've made an espresso.
Getting value from this video? Please take a moment to like and subscribe.
Let's go ahead and make a cappuccino. We're going to use the panarello to do the milk frothing. So for the cappuccino, what I'm going to do is a double shot, and then I'm going to let out the least amount of water. Espresso. 2. There we go. So to get into steam mode, all I gotta do is hit steam and hit the play button. So you can see here that it adds a whole lot of air in there with the panarello. That's the job of the panarello. But we're not gonna get it super fine porous. So there's your milk foam right there. That is very, very frothy, but it's not what you're going to, it's not really silky. Let's put it that way. So let's just dump that in there. What you kind of get is a traditional cappuccino where you just have like really big foamy milk bubbles on top. It's not the same kind of consistency as what you can get with nice silky milk. So that is the cappuccino there, made with the panarello. I mean, it's pretty good. And I would say that it's probably similar in texture, maybe not quite as good as the LatteGo system, where you just hang the LatteGo on the side there and it puts the milk in there for you. This is similar, maybe not quite as good, but you know, it takes some practice. But now what I want to do is run this manually, take the panarello off and see what kind of consistency we can get. But the taste anyway is pretty good. Double shot with the panarello frothed milk. Now let's move on. Let's make a better one. So we're gonna do the same thing with the espresso. And what I'm gonna do is remove the panarello. That's gonna give me much more control. All right, and now, as I mentioned, I want to use just the steam tip itself. It's just a one-hole steam tip instead of the panarello. So if you can see there, the panarello has got a hole here in the top that pulls air through, and it pushes it out through kind of like a turbulent mechanism here on the bottom. And that's what gives you just a ton of froth that we had here on this cappuccino. But we want to try to get some better milk, a better texture, a silkier, more delightful texture, and that's what we're going to do now. So for that, you got to get it positioned just right so that the tip is here on the side. And you see it's got quite a bit of power. We want to get a whirlpool going and inject air at the same time. That is looking nice and silky. Okay, so this milk foam is very good. This is nearly comparable to a normal espresso machine. You can get it just about as silky, and now that's delightful. That's really the texture that you want. With that being the case, you can put a nice heart on top. You can practice with some squiggly lines, do some latte art. So that is what I wanted to demonstrate with this machine. You can actually practice latte art. All you need is a milk pitcher like this. Take the panarello off and practice your milk steaming. If you get it nice and silky like that, then the rest is so something you can experiment with. So that's a lot of fun. And how's the taste? It's a tasty cappuccino, and the main reason is you got nice silky milk. When you do a good job texturing your milk, first of all, you bind the proteins together to get that nice creaminess. But what you also do when you add the right amount of heat is you can extract some of the sweetness out of the milk. Milk has sugars in it, and oof, that is delightful. So there we got a manually made cappuccino there. Here we've got the one made with the panarello. That's quite a difference there, don't you think? So this machine is capable of both. The thing that I want to do is make a Caffe Crema. So I'm using this glass here so we can see what the Caffe Crema looks like. And this is height adjustable, by the way. That's kind of a nice feature. I mean, all Superautomatics have that feature. But let's go ahead and hit coffee. Maximum beans, medium amount of water, and let's go. Okay, so we got 115 milliliters out of there, and you can see that they call it a Caffe Crema because it's got some nice crema on top, and that's what really differentiates it from like a drip coffee, filter coffee, pour over, that kind of thing. It is extracting with some pressure, and so therefore you get some crema on top. So that's a nice way to start the morning with a Caffe Crema. Very tasty. 72 degrees, so that's hot enough for me. And I like my drinks pretty hot. This is a very popular drink in Germany, and I think in other European countries too. Caffe Crema. So now we have made a myriad of drinks. That I'd like to do today is make a tea, because some people will use this for tea as well, and just see how hot the water gets. Let's just go ahead and put some hot water here and see how hot it gets. Let's see a little more. All right, here we go. Here's our hot water for our tea. And let's see how hot we got that. Oh, it's pretty hot. 84. Yep, at the top of the water, 84 degrees Celsius. So to wrap up, we have made an espresso with this machine. We have made a cappuccino with the panarello, which we removed promptly. Made a better cappuccino. Then we made a tea. I would say, let's take a look at the brew group. If you're gonna buy this machine, what does a brew group look like? So all you gotta do is remove the water tank, open this flap here, push this to the side, and then you can remove that. And this is what the brew group looks like. This is the shower screen on the inside. That's where your 6 to 7 grams of beans go. Here's your little tamper right there with that orange gasket on it. You can see that right there. And there's some mechanisms that do require some greasing, like on the bottom. You can see that greasing there. So that is what the included grease is for. Let's just stick that back inside its housing. Excellent. And that's all there is to it. Pretty simple. Good to go. Let's go ahead and clean the said brew group by just hitting Aqua Clean. And what that's going to do is clean the brew group out so that it's pretty nice and clean, and that's a good thing. Okay, so it does actually run quite a bit of water through there. That's about 250 milliliters. that have run through the brew group that gets nice and clean so that you can take it out. So we're good to go there. There's one thing I haven't shown you yet, and that is the drip tray. So this is what the drip tray looks like here. It's got a dishwasher symbol on it, and therefore you can stick it in the dishwasher. It shouldn't lose its form. And some people like to see what the coffee pucks look like, so I'm gonna get my workspace all dirty for you guys. That's what they look like right there. So like this is the most recent one. Looks like it's still a normal puck. Yeah, the others have kind of crumbled. Oh boy, I made a mess. Alrighty, I hope that this video is helpful for you, and if so, give it a like. If you thought it sucked, give it a thumbs down. Whatever the case, thank you for being with me today and taking a look at this Philips Superautomatic. And until next time, I say happy coffee drinking and happy espresso drinking. Bye now.